Hi, sir. Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah. Hi, Shrey.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. So should we just wait for a minute and then,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, okay, let's start then, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Done. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live broadcast on game development by Adhiraj, and it is presented by Cypher Schools. So, if you're new to the channel, just hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for further more such webinars. We're going to be organizing such webinars and workshops every weekend. So if you have interest in learning new things every weekend, just subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. For now, we are here for the game development session with Adhiraj sir. And without further ado, I'll introduce him to you all of you. He is a game developer who's worked on multiple 2D, 3D, and augmented reality games and applications. And so I just have a very simple doubt before we started out. I am someone who's played like multiple of games and movies में एक वो description दी जाती है gamers की अंधेरे में बैठे हैं हुडी डाल के कोडिंग कर रहे हैं तो what is game development all about and like how is it the process all about like what all are we going to cover in today's session, can you just give us a brief introduction about it?
Sure, sure. Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to welcome everyone and good morning, everyone. So, as you asked, what is game development, and you have seen. So, like एक थोड़ा सा broader idea हम देखें तो playing games and developing games is completely different thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
एक गेम को खेलना is interesting. एक गेम को बनाना is interesting plus challenging plus sometimes you are scratching your head and just wondering how my thing like with every development when you do any kind of development, right, you are just
Mm-hmm.
maybe stuck in some problem and like so it's a not just a happy go easy kind of thing कि, you are just playing and you are just enjoying थोड़ा सा इसमें you will be doing the let's say like whatever we'll be discussing in अभी आने वाले जो सेशन हमारा अभी आएंगे क्वेश्चंस वगैरह तो बहुत सारी
Mm-hmm.
चीज़ हम इसमें कवर करेंगे we'll be getting to know कि game development actually like what happens in a game development, what do you do, how do you do, what things you use, what everything we'll be covering, but just to एक छोटा सा अगर मैं glance दूं तो game development actually covers a lot of stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
includes coding also. It includes the designing of the whole game. It also includes creating the art assets, all the creative things also. It also
Mm-hmm.
includes the the you can say the connectivity, networking, front and back end, everything is included. Look, it's like a full stack thing that we actually experience when we are developing games and
Right.
when we are into game development.
So, as you said just now, key game development covers a lot of things. So, what are the different stages of game development? If we are to break it into different stages, like from the starting point, and how does a game starts? Like, how does a game developer start developing, and when does it finish?
Right. Uh, so basically, before actually answering this question, one thing is that when we are creating a game, when we are making a game, so even like you, Shrey, can also make a game, like a single
Okay.
person, right? And it can also include hundreds of people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have some games in the market which are like made by single person, right? They're called
Mm-hmm.
indie developers. So that is also
Okay.
possible, and they actually do the whole the starting part of the game. Let's say that is A, and the finishing part that is Z. So everything A to Z is done by that single person only. And
Got it.
if I consider the a triple A game, so by triple A I
Mm-hmm.
mean that I know I hope you are familiar with GTA and stuff, right?
Yeah.
GTA, like the popular games that we have for PlayStation, Xbox, PCs, those, right?
Right.
So that actually includes a lot of people in that, right? So let me
Mm-hmm.
just like start with a normal game, like
Mm-hmm.
whenever we are starting developing game, it can include a lot of people. So first of all, we would be discussing about the concept, like we want to know that what is the concept of this game, right?
Right.
Let's take an example of some popular game, for example, PUBG. I hope everyone
Mhm.
here has played it. You have also played it.
Yeah.
Everyone was a fan of it.
Yeah.
You guys, we were playing it 24/7. So,
Mhm.
a very popular game. So when they started thinking about it, that how should we make the game, the first thing that came was the concept. So they
Mhm.
designed a concept that how this game should work. They didn't
Correct.
actually get into the coding stuff, they didn't actually get into the designing stuff, no. First of all, they designed the concept of the game, like let's say this will be a battle royale game. So
Mhm.
battle royale is like, when multiple
All
online players
people come.
are playing.
Right.
Yeah, everyone is, and we are just into a zone and we are killing each other and we are surviving like that. So that is the concept of the game. There are also other games on the same concept. If we have seen Call of Duty,
Call of
Fortnite,
Duty.
very
Right.
popular. Yeah, those are like on the same concept. So first thing is like, the basic concept of game is, think about the concept. It should be interesting. It should hold the player
Mhm.
with uh, that yes, it is interesting and people will stay on it. They can become addicted. That is the different thing. Then the concept, the idea, the conceptualization, everything is being planned. So that is like the first phase of like we can call it concept
Mhm.
development, right? Then we generally go to the pre-production phase of the game. So in pre-production is basically like, let's say when the concept is finalized, right? So
Mhm.
in pre-production of the game, we basically design the layout. Like for example, let's say I have designed the concept of PUBG. Then we will be
Okay.
designing that. Okay, so this is how the menus will look like. This is how there will be like a lobby, and then we have these buttons, and we will having uh, players joining in a room, and the room will be displayed here, and then with this button we can go to the enter the game, like the whole the, you can say, the wireframes and everything is developed in that, like the proper planning and of the designing of the game. Then comes the production part. So there we actually start creating the game. Now everything is planned, everything is set up, everything is decided कि इतने players हो सकते हैं, इतने players we can select this much player, uh, this इतने players की एक lobby बनेगी, uh, ये maps होंगे, ये weapons होंगे, सब कुछ we have decided, and then we start actually working on that. So if we have 10 games, 10 guns in the game, so
Mhm.
the let's say the artist will start designing those guns. The players, they will get start designing. The programmers will start doing the coding stuff. So everything is done in that. The entire game start building in that production phase, right?
Mhm.
And so this is more or less iterative. Things will work. There will be some changes, and it will be done again.
Right.
So it will this phase takes time. Then comes the testing part. So once the game is ready, then people will actually be there in the company to test the game. So they will be like
Mhm.
taking out the bugs that okay, this is not working, this is not working. Then again, it will go back and forth. So that is the quality assurance and testing part of the game, and then the release of the game. So it will go live. Before actually going live, they actually test with the beta users also, like just
Mhm.
to know that if there are any other games that the community people can find out and that stuff, and then they will release to the public. So this is more like the entire journey, that starting from a concept and releasing it to the public is more like how game actually flows.
So, do these game companies also call common people like me to test out the games?
There are actually few websites on which you can search on Google and some stuff. There are programs that you can enroll,
Mhm.
and you can
Okay.
actually play certain games which are available for certain, only the people, those who are signed up for that program. You can play that, and
Right.
you can actually, report the bugs and stuff. So there
Right.
are websites that offer this kind of things.
Okay. So, like as you said, there are hundreds of people sometimes involved in the process of game development. So, what
Yeah.
are the different types of profiles or roles that are involved in the game development process?
Okay. So again, I'll be talking about in the perspective of a decent game, right?
Right.
When you are actually, there is a lot of user base which is playing that game. So
Mm-hmm.
we can break the profiles into several sections. So the first one I would go with would be a designer profile, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are these designer people who are involved in making of the game. So designer people are basically the people who are like looking at the overall uh, like with which are who are associated with the overall game, right? They are associated with the planning also. They are associated with the production, period of production, testing, everything. They actually basic uh, designs the game, that how game will actually work, how will it will start, what the mechanics, what are the things. So they are actually responsible for creating the overall concept of the game. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they will be like, so if I take an example of, let's say, GTA 5, right? So what is the role of a designer in GTA 5? So he not a single person, actually there would be a team,
Designing team.
yeah, designing team which is involved in the production of GTA.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be, let's say, what will be the story of the GTA 5? Like there will
Mm-hmm.
be, three characters that will we can play. What is the story of this character? Like how he got involved into gangs, and how why is he killing people? The
Mm-hmm.
entire, you see those cinematic scenes which actually define the
Right.
story in a AAA game, right?
Yeah.
So that story, that actually, um, uh, gameplay mechanics, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, let's say there is this player in the game, he can actually fly. This is his superpower. This character
Mm-hmm.
can, he can heal very fast. That is the power of this character. This player can actually, shoot very aggressively and very precisely. So that this is this character designing, the character story, the mechanics, like this player can jump higher, this can jump lower. So everything is being designed by the game designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, designer actually go like with the entire life cycle of the game. They start
Mm-hmm.
from the concept and that. Then comes the programming team, right? Now programmers are basically the one who brings the game to a life to life. They actually make it playable. They actually make it, add the controls, add the logic, add the brain to the game. So
Mm-hmm.
that actually includes the coding stuff, the brainstorming that I told you in the beginning. So that those are the programmers part. They actually code the logic. So if I say again, same game, if I take the example, so designer has said that okay, this player will can run very fast and he can jump very high. Now, to
Right.
put that logic in the game is the work of a programmer. So
Code.
the
Right.
programmer will be basically coding that, okay, if I am pressing this key and I'm holding shift, then the player is
Mm-hmm.
running faster than the desired speed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that logic of forward key and shift is being coded by the programmer.
Got
Maybe
it.
if I say that I press double space, like if I press space two times, then the player will jump higher. So that logic
Mm-hmm.
of pressing space and jumping him higher actually is done by the programmer, right? So all the logical part is done by the programmer. Then we also have artists in the game, right? So artists are basically the people who create the art. Now, art
Mm-hmm.
can be as simple as a button design, just a simple button, the design of the button, uh, as simple as the background of the game, that what is how the game will actually look like, all the images, all the sprites, all the also including the characters that we have in the game, right? So if I want to design a character, let's say um, I gave example of three characters, right? So each character will look different. So that designing is done by the artist. There are 3D artists, there are 2D artists, there are character modelers. All these people actually design the assets of the game, designing the
Mm-hmm.
environment. So the city is being designed, right? That is done by them artist. Then we have So if I consider the example of a big game, right? So they can also have the VFX artists, sound engineers,
Hmm.
because that is also important part of a big game. If you don't have a sound in the game, if you don't feel that, and I'm shooting the gun and I'm not getting that
Sound,
sound,
right.
proper sound of that game, right?
Hmm.
You will not, you will feel something is missing, So a very important part again of a game, sound engineering, VFX includes all the effects. Let's say if I'm throwing a bomb, it's exploding, the fire is being, everything is being, burned down. So then we have these people to do such kind of stuff, and then um, so we also have these QA people, quality assurance, who are
Hmm.
actually testing the, everything is being done now without any bug. People are actually able to play the game, and they are actually able to enjoy it bug free. So yeah.
Right. So, you talked about those designers designing the elements of the game. So, those people are the ones who design the consoles as well. Because the other day I was reading the story about PlayStation's evolution, and I read how the console, the initial console, it was a very different design, a unique design that they developed. So, it was a very struggling process for them about
Console, as in
designing the
you're
whole.
talking about the hardware.
No, I'm talking about the gaming console, like the joystick.
Uh-huh.
So, it is.
No, 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 no. So designers, so that is the hardware part, like the console, joystick, the controller that you play with. That is
Mhm.
something different, right? Designer is more, game designer is basically the one that is designing the concept of the game. Like
Okay,
if I am using this joystick and if I'm, pressing the triangle button, so triangle button will do what can the triangle button can do. If the
got it.
player is holding the gun, then the triangle button will actually boost the gun, something like that. So he will be designing the concept of the entire game.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when we talk about these different roles, what are the skills that like our audience might be interested in pursuing a career in game development? So what are the different skills that you need in order to pursue a certain role in game development?
Okay. So I hope everyone like so if I want to start, so I would say that first thing is coding is you know I would say not necessary, because nowadays there are these engines who are like doing the visual scripting kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
In which you can actually just connect the different I would say, so you don't actually have to write anything in that
Hmm.
particularly, you don't have to type anything. You're getting these I would say blocks of code that you can actually just connect and design the logic, that is also there. But yes, I would say coding will go a long way. So like knowing a programming language will actually will go a long way, because um, designing that logic, designing that that I would say complicated logical flow. So
Hmm.
knowing a programming language gives you a upper hand in that. Knowing a
Right.
programming language is must, right? I would say, though there are these tools and technologies that you can use, you can create a game without knowing coding also. Like we have these softwares now. But I would say that if you want to, if you are serious, then knowing a programming language is must. Then I would say that there is these engines, gaming engines, right, which are very helpful in making making the process easier, right? So so that is something. So I'll also talk about what programming is, what programming language, but I'm just telling that these are.
Right.
So this thing that I'm talking about is from the perspective of a developer, right?
Hmm.
So apart from this, if you are looking for artists and stuff, so I would say that knowing these designing softwares, Maya, 3ds Max, Blender, Photoshop, these softwares will help you
Hmm.
in designing that, right? There is there are these people also who actually do the designing also, and they are somewhat in the programming also, like they are called technical artists. So for those, they actually know how to design in Blender or Adobe Illustrator or something like that, and they also know a bit about Unity also, so they can actually integrate whatever is being done there, and they can put that in the Unity. So those are the different profiles. So I would say that currently the popular things that we see in the market in from the perspective of programming and engines are the first is Unity,
Mm-hmm.
very popular, high in demand. Okay,
Right.
and then we have Unreal, again
Okay.
very popular, high in demand. Okay, there are other engines also, but you can also learn them, but you would see less openings and less jobs as compared to Unity and Unreal in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we want to learn, so these are the engines. Okay, what does the
Mm-hmm.
engine do? Engine basically provide us certain sets of things which are required to create a game. Like if I want to design let's say a game in which I want to just make the ball jump, right? I press
Mm-hmm.
the space, I want it to jump, and then maybe it is bouncing, right? So all the physics that is being applied on making the ball go up and then bouncing, so that whole thing, that physics is being done by the engine itself. We don't need to worry
Got it.
about that. So
Mm-hmm.
everything, so not everything, but most of the thing is being done by the engine. So
Mm-hmm.
you can make a game in a normal like you can write a game and you can actually run it in terminal also. That can also work. But engine provides a certain set of components and facilities that you can actually use to uh, make a good game, which is
Mm-hmm.
visually also, you can, it is also visually pleasing, and it is also will take less time because I don't have to write the entire physics code myself. It is
Got
already
it.
there, done by the engine, right? So engine,
Right.
and then the programming language. So if I'm learning Unity, we learn C sharp with Unity because Unity supports C sharp. No, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are wanna go with Unreal, Unreal supports C++, right? So if you know any programming language, if you are already familiar with some programming language, then learning C sharp and C++ is not a huge challenge for you, because
Mm-hmm.
if you know one programming language, you already are familiar with the concepts, the basic concept of that. What is a loop, what is a if statement, what is a else statement, what is the simple
Right.
uh, fundamentals of that programming language. You are
Mm-hmm.
already clear with that. Just the way of writing while loop, for loop will change in some other language, right? Maybe that language is using brackets, this language is not using bracket,
Mm-hmm.
like that. Just the way of that is changing. Already know the fundamental concept of that loop. So if you already know programming language, then learning C++, C sharp is not a big challenge for you. You can easily learn it, and you can actually start using those uh, the fundamentals, and then you can start applying it with Unity. So C++ and Unreal will go C sharp and Unity, right? From the perspective of designers, you need to learn these softwares. So these softwares actually are, as I have given example, I don't have much expertise in the software because I am more towards the development kind of side of the game, right? So I know more about that. But yes, I know, I have a fair idea that Blender, like it's a very popular open source software that can actually help you create 3D models and stuff. So you can
Right.
actually start learning this from YouTube and stuff, and you can start actually creating. Let's say you want to create a model of a house, so you can just uh, start learning the basics of that interface and see that how you can actually create a cube, how you can extrude the cube, how you can actually take out something from it and you can create an
Mm-hmm.
inclined, like that. So you can start
Right.
learning from there, and those tools and technologies will be helpful as a career for a designer.
Right. So
Yeah,
we have certain comments and questions in the comment section. If you
yeah.
say we can take them now, or should we take them towards the end?
It's okay, we can take a few.
Okay. So we have a comments. I'll pop up them on the screen if you can see.
Yeah, I can see Super Mario Road Rush was my favorite games during the school time. My favorite was Pac-Man, Anurag.
Yeah. And so
Contra, yeah.
like talking about these games, these come into the 2D category, right?
Sorry?
I said these games come into the 2D category.
Yeah, like Mario and so these are the old games that we see that
Mm-hmm.
these are 2D, right? Um, uh, like making a 2D game and making a 3D game, it's not like separate skill set, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like if you know how to make a 2D game, you can't make a 3D game. It's not like that. If
Okay.
you, it's just the difference is, the space is now have three dimensions. But the moment, let's say, if I'm moving a player on X and Y axis, I can also
Mm-hmm.
make it move on the Z axis, right? Just few things that you need to understand fundamentally from the perspective of maths and physics, which is also very important if you are being as a game developer. You should be familiar with these concepts. So yes, these games that you Mario, Super Contra, the old games, they were like 2D in nature, but recently you can also see some recreated version of these games. If you have seen,
Yeah.
people have recreated these games. They have Super Mario in 3D, Contra
Yeah.
in 3D, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have one more question. Oh, yeah, that's on screen.
Okay, so what is the concept behind FPP and TPP games in terms of development, and how exactly recoil is possible? Okay, so I'll take this question in two parts. So first is FPP and TPP, and then we have the recoil. Okay, so basically FPP, TPP, first person and third person, right?
100%. Right.
It's very simple. Basically, so what we have in game, I'll show you in a maybe we can give a glance of uh, behind the scenes also, right? Just
Yeah.
to show the people that how things actually works. So FPP, TPP, basically, if I'm playing the game from my perspective, like I can see my hands in the camera and I can see the gun. I can't see myself, so
Mm-hmm.
that is my perspective, the first person perspective,
First
right?
person.
And then we have this third person. So all these first person and third person things happen actually with the help of a simple camera. We
Mm-hmm.
have now this camera again is given to us by the Unity engine or Unreal engine, right? We don't actually have to write the code to create that camera. It is already given to us. So I can actually just use that camera, and maybe I can create a 3D model of a player, and I can attach that camera to the head of that player. Now when I'm moving, so I am moving, the camera is moving with my head. So I am actually seeing the world from that perspective, that the camera is here and I'm seeing the world like that. So in
Mm-hmm.
if you have played PUBG. PUBG,
Mm-hmm.
we have this FPP and TPP mode, so we
FPP.
can switch
Yeah.
that. So in FPP, I was seeing that everything, I can see my hand like this in the camera, and I have the gun in front
Mm-hmm.
of me. But in third person, the camera is behind the player. So when the player
Yeah.
is moving and the camera is following that, so I can actually see that player, and I'm playing from the third perspective view,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is the major concept, just the camera. You are actually playing with the camera, right? And recoil is possible. And how exactly recoil is possible in FPS? So recoil and all these stuffs are actually falling into the under the physics umbrella of the engine, right? So let's say I want to let's say I'll take a simpler example. Let's say I have a ball in the game, and I have actually you know I adjust the mass of the ball. So it can be let's say 10 in mass, or it is 100 in mass. So if I am having a ball which is 10 in mass, it will be lighter than the 100. So in
Mm-hmm.
real world, it will have different behaviors when deal with some conditions, right? And if I want to do this, if I want to simulate the same condition in the game environment also, I can do that also with the help of the physics that I can manipulate in the game, right? So similarly, the recoils, the let's say the camera shake effect. Let's say if I shoot and suddenly see a sudden jerk in the camera, that okay, I have shoot, make a shot like that. All these things that happens is actually uh, already given to us by the engine.
So like now the game developers are now also focusing on haptics. So that comes under the physics part, or does that have a coding related to it?
uh, like physics and coding actually go in hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh, like I have physics, but the concept of physics already there in the engine. I can also manipulate that because it is obviously written by some developer, right? That okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is the physics, this is the value of g, this is the value of mass, like
Right.
that. I can also modify that, so that
Mm-hmm.
actually go in hand in hand. I can actually change the physics also. I don't have to rely on the engine because some studios, if I talk about some AAA studios like
Mm-hmm.
Rockstar and stuff, so they don't actually rely on these engines. They also have their own engines also.
Got
So
it.
it's not like we have engine and then we have already, just like made it compulsory that only these things you can use to make a game. There are endless possibilities in a game. There are endless possibilities how you want to create a game. You can make the game as realistic as simulation games. If you have seen, like they are very realistic to the physics of the real world, and you can make them as stupid as you want. You know, you can actually make any sort of logic which is not possible in the real life. Still people will play because it is just for the entertainment purpose.
Mm-hmm. So, when we talk about the different types of games, like the games that are being played on the PC or console, or they are being played on iPhones or Android phones, so is there a difference that goes into the development phase, or like it is same for everyone?
uh, so again I'll be मैं तारीफ करूंगा गेमिंग इंजन्स की कि this has been made easier. We don't actually have
Okay.
to write code for different platforms again and again.
Mm-hmm.
We can actually create a game, and we can actually make it possible or available for multiple platforms, right? So
Mm-hmm.
taking an example of a normal game that I want to create for Android, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can create it for Android, and I can use the same set of codes and assets and use those packages and make it for iOS also,
Okay.
right? So same game will can be played. But the thing is here is that Android and iOS, whenever we are creating such games,
Mm-hmm.
these games actually are more optimized, right, according to the screens that we will be playing them on the small screen. Obviously it can't have much it can't be cluttered,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can't have too much things on the screen. So and it should also be optimized, that we need to
Right.
take care. Optimized, by optimization I mean that it should be fast, it should be it should not hang my device, otherwise there is no fun to play that. But if I
Yeah.
talk about the PCs and consoles, so they have this freedom of making the game more, I would say, uh, uh, visually pleasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are very heavy games. They can even go up to 80 GB, 100 GB, 120 GB, or not.
Right.
So those games can like if I take an example of Unity, so in Unity you can actually make a game which for you can just simply create a game, and then you can actually export it for uh, Android also, iOS also, PC also, like PC like as in Windows, Mac,
Mm-hmm.
Linux, like that. So a same game can be actually made for various platforms with the help of
Mm-hmm.
engine.
Got it. So we have one more question. Uh, sh-
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
But I due to so okay, so I have a strong desire to become a game developer, but I am hesitant due to my past experience getting stuck at a certain point. Okay, I guess I worry about whether I will be able to overcome these obstacles. Okay, I guess Gitika is talking about like getting stuck into the coding, like starting
Yeah.
something and then not able to finish it. So I guess that is case in every development field, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not just related to game development. Ki you even if you are making a simple application, you're a web developer, Android developer, iOS developer, it's normal. Like you get stuck. Uh, but the thing is that if I'm just talking specific about game development, the community is very vast. You will find a lot of support, especially for these popular engines, Unity and Unreal. You will find a lot of support. Uh, there are these multiple forums. Unity also has its official forum, and then we have the
Mhm.
Stack Overflow and Reddit and stuff.
Editing.
uh, People are actually just posting their queries. So I would tell Gitika that if you are starting and if you are getting any issue, there is 99.9% chance that somebody has already been stuck with that issue,
Mhm.
and there are 99% chance that you will find the solution on the internet. So it's just that whenever you want to, starting with something new, obviously you will get stuck. If you are not getting stuck, that means you are not doing enough to learn that new stack, right? Getting stuck is a good thing, I guess. Brainstorming is a good thing. You learn more. You actually get out of a comfort zone. You actually, uh, you know, uh, push yourself to become a better version of yourself. So that is completely fine. Whenever you get stuck, this is a blessing for us people, the development field, people who are working in the development field, that we have a huge support from the community. There are and even if you don't have, can't find the question on the forum and stuff, you can obviously reach out to people and ask for help. People will, guide you and tell you that this is how you should approach, this is how you should do. It's all about, just uh, start, and don't try to be perfect. In that task, you don't have to do it perfectly, just have to finish.
So, I guess that answers the question. And
Yeah.
I guess we've been talking a lot between amongst ourselves right now. This is all talk. So, can you actually show how the game development process looks like, or how the behind the scenes the game is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
So
I guess.
I will be just giving you a glimpse that how things go in the back end. Like it's, let's say if I'm working on a certain game, uh,
Mhm.
what things I do, what things I use. It's not about like you don't have to understand it. You just have to, like, I'm just gonna give a glance that okay, this is how things actually works, right?
Right.
Uh, so I'm just gonna share my screen. Let me know if you can see it. Okay.
Sure.
Just a second.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I have this one project with me. Let me know if you can see it.
Uh, I'll do one thing. I'll drop off from this window so that you can explain it with the entire screen.
Sure.
Yeah,
Can you see the screen?
it's visible.
Okay. Okay, so this is just a simple, behind the scenes, that how actually things actually work uh, while creating a game. So now this thing that I'm showing you, this is given. This is like a Unity project, like which is, created by Unity. So it can be a bit overwhelming seeing a lot of things on the screen. You don't have to worry about it. I'm just showing you that how what goes in making a game, right? So if I just let me just so whenever we like start playing a game, you see something like this on the screen, right? Like there is this welcome screen of a game, and you have these buttons that you actually can click, and you can actually go on various windows of the game. So now these things are nothing but as such, but let me just show you that these are simply just a second. So basically, we have these stuff which are more like just the text, and then this like the button, and we can also actually define that if I click on this thing, then what will happen? If I click on this thing, You can see here that I have the start button. I have this different buttons that are there, and with each button there is something. Uh, Let me just, yeah, if I just uh, do this, so you can see that this, okay, so this is the start logo. So if I'm just disabling it, so you can see that this is being disappeared. So these are the different components, I would say. So different components are attached together to make a certain screen of a game. So if I just go to the start button, so this start button is actually doing something whenever like there is this on click thing. So whenever I click on this button, so the thing that is mentioned here will happen, right? And this is the start button, you can see. Now, if I just, so this is the Unity engine, right? So in the engine also, I can play the game. If I just click on the play button from here, I can actually start playing the game. It will take some time, just a second. Yeah, so you can see that if I am just, so this is the play game. Like here, you can actually see that how the game will actually look like if you are using it on some platform, maybe for Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, iOS. So you can actually see the entire preview here, and you can actually play the game also. So if I just click on the start button, so certain things are happening, and this is just purely logical. Everything is being coded in the backend, and you can see that there is this player, and now you can see that this player is, if I just go here in the scene, so this is the actual behind this and like map, like this is how the map is being designed for this level, right? Now if you see that this is nothing but simple images that are being put together. If I just quickly go here and show you, uh, just a second, let me just find something, background. So if I just disable this, so yeah, so see, this entire thing that you see here is more like an image that is being placed. If I'm just disabling it, it is just getting disabled from the game. And then if I'm just disabling it, so you can see that foreground, as in the things that you see on the ground, which are on the level of the player. So you can see those things here. And if I just go inside it, you can see something like so like these small components. If I'm just disabling it, you can see that okay, these grass and stones are being put together. So everything is being arranged and to create a level. Now this thing that arranging, like how the level will look like, how the player will will be standing, this is being done, decided by the designer. The programmer work is to do this. Like if I'm just pressing the keys, then if the player is moving, you can see that the player is actually running left and right with the help of keys. This is being done by the developer, right? And this player that you see here, the name of this player is Ellen. Okay, so if Ellen is standing here and he is like doing this animation kind of stuff, right? So these animation and stuff can also be done by the developers. If I'm just quickly going to show you, so if I go to this Ellen, so here's the Ellen, and on this LN we have this animator attached. If I go here, so this is the animator that is being attached here. So this is the code, or you can say the logic that is being developed for the animation of this player, right? Like whenever I enter in the game and my player is being spawned, so it will go to different states. So does it has it have a weapon? It doesn't have a weapon. If I just go inside this, so you can see that this web which is being there. So each there is this tab is like a state of ln, right? If he is in crouch, and if if I want to go from crouch to locomotion, then this logic will happen. So like this, the animations are being done for this player. And if I just come back, so if I just am moving the player and let's say I'm pressing the space bar, you can see the player is jumping, right? So this on press of the space bar, the animation is being changed. You can see that if I'm pressing the space bar, the Alan is basically jumping with a different set of animation. That is again being coded in the those animator that if I press the space bar, then the current animation state will go from this idle one to jumping one, right? So that is being coded in the animator. And if I just quickly show you about the scripting also, so let me just take an example of, let's just take an example of Ellen only. So I'll play the game again. Let's start it. And let me just search for Ellen. Yeah. So on Ellen, we have certain scripts attached. You can see here. So these are the scripts that are attached here, and they are doing certain work. So let me just show you some script. So we have, let's see this damageable. Let's see what this is doing. So let me just open it. Now, this is basically a Visual Studio. This is the IDE in which this is generally preferred with Unity, in which you will write the code, you will write the logic, and yeah. So you can see here that inside this script, uh, whatever is written here is in C sharp language. If you have already studied in Java language, so you know similarly this is a Boolean type, the name, and then the value. So everything is being coded like this is the starting health, this will be the invulnerable. Different things have been and then inside this the logic is being formed. So let me just quickly show you this against like uh, let's say yeah, so let's say this is a method called take damage. So this method is being called whenever the player is you know take a damage, right? So you can see here that the current health will get decremented by the damage that the player has been given. So this is the code that is written, and this method is being called whenever the player, let's say, hit any bullet, whenever the player hit any enemy. So this method will be called, and whatever the damage that player is or enemy is dealing, so that will be affected on the player of my player, right? So this is a very, quick glance of a game, that how things work on the back end side. I hope you guys,
Yeah, that actually looks so cool.
yeah,
So
yeah,
people were like literally commenting, they were amazed by the graphics and all. And I'll just quickly ping some questions on the screen for you to see.
okay.
Yeah.
Does game characters design or environment designer needs to learn coding? Character designer and environment designer are not it's not compulsory for them to learn coding actually, because it is a different skill set. You need to learn different set of softwares, you need to learn different sets of uh, uh, you don't actually have to go in the hardcore coding as a designer. uh, but designer, or I would say that you are telling me about the artist, right? The character artist and that stuff. So you need to learn certain different set of tools, as I mentioned earlier, like Blender, Maya, 3dx Max, and maybe there are some other. You can search on Google what are the latest tool, because uh, that is a completely different skill set. If I am working on a game and it is a good game which is actually requiring some assets and the very environment and stuff, so I will not be able to make the characters because I don't know how to use Blender, right? So it is a different skill set. So if you are into you like designing and stuff, you can learn coding and Unity. Uh, that will be a different, there is a different demand for that. People are actually looking for those people also who knows designing and Unity, and actually there is a higher demand than a normal game artist. So it is good if you can learn coding, or I would say this Unity engine and the basics of coding, not hardcore coding, but it's not compulsory.
So I'll just ask you one last question, and then we can proceed to the audience questions.
Yeah.
So, what according to you is the future of the gaming industry or the game development industry?
I guess gaming is the future, because uh, you might have seen that in like from past few years, 2 3 4 years, uh, people have started talking more about gaming, right?
Right.
There were these games that were being made before that also, but now you can see that there are a lot of companies who are, startups that are starting as a game startup. There are a lot of, you can see a lot of hiring is being happening for the games, right? There is actually a boom, a lot of like a spike at the hiring and the, the startups and the companies have actually spiked in few years, and this is
Hmm.
going to continue because it's not just about entertainment now, it's about marketing also now, right? People are actually putting their ads in games, people are actually displaying, if you have noticed in some games, in AAA games, people are actually, there are some hoardings which are there, which are like a
Yeah.
sort of ad. You can
Hmm.
actually, so and apart from that, if I'm just not talking about gaming, Unity is not just specifically to, restricted to gaming only. You can actually develop apps and stuff also in this, right? We don't actually prefer doing that, but it can be done, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm talking about few other technologies which can be done in Unity apart from gaming, and those are very popular, those are AR and VR. Now, to do AR and VR, you need to learn same set of technologies that you need to learn as game development. Not same, similar, right? There are a few additional things that you need to learn. But AR is gonna boom. AR is booming. AR is gonna boom.
Hmm.
VR is booming. VR is gonna boom. So in future, I would say that this game is gonna be, especially in India, people are actually becoming very aware, and you're gonna find a lot of jobs and opportunities in coming years.
Right. So I'll quickly start pinging in the audience questions now. We have a
Sure.
lot of questions pinged in the comments. Yeah.
Okay. Unreal Gaming Engine brings revolution in gaming environment, and what's the difference between Unity and Unreal? If you want to start with game development, which engine choose? Okay. Uh, Revolution. If I'm saying about Revolution, all the big games actually, all the AAA games generally prefer Unreal Engine, right, to make games. Reason being that Unreal provides a certain set of tools and stuff that are uh, very. I would say that people actually can do better stuff. You can make a better game, better looking game in Unreal. I'm not saying Unity can't make better games, but I'm just saying graphic wise and stuff, right? Unity is optimized, more
Hmm.
optimized than Unity. But the thing is, uh, Unity and Unreal are different engines, right? If you are learning Unity, you go with Unity. If you're Unreal, go with Unreal. Don't try to mix and match because both of them have separate, learning curve, right? Unity is more beginner friendly. Unreal is not that much beginner friendly, right? The learning of Unity is very linear. You can actually start learning, and you will be find it easier to go and just as you keep going, you will be very you can maintain your pace and you can learn things very easily. Unreal somehow actually do stuff in a bit complicated way, which are fine if you are if you want to learn, but uh, uh, Unreal, people generally don't prefer to make small hyper casual games in Unreal because you need to do a lot of stuff to do some small thing, right? So Unreal is basically used for big games. Unity is used for small games and big games, both can be done there. So if you want to start with game development as a beginner, if you don't know anything about it, I would recommend Unity. But yes, if you are it's not compulsory to go with Unity only. It's just a preferred choice because it is a bit easier to learn. But yes,
Hmm.
Unreal is also a good choice if you are, into more into targeting towards the big AAA games. So you should go with Unreal.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become a game developer and how did you get started in the industry? Okay, so I would say that being interested in games from very young age, starting way back from Pac-Man and Mario, I already had this curiosity that like if I'm playing a game, that how this game is being uh, you know uh, what is happening, that what is making this player jump, what is making this player run, right? So there was this curiosity. I used to play a lot of games, and I was always being curious about this, that how things are working, how I'm able to make the car jump, and how why is not just falling down, and why how is it flying, so how is it following the physics in the game, what is happening there. So everything is like more about curiosity. When I become started searching about, so first I start searching for, like, I was curious about creating an environment, right? So I started searching how to create a virtual game environment and stuff. So then I came to know about Unity.
Hmm.
So then I started searching a bit about Unity. Okay, this is how, this is Unity, this is a gaming engine and stuff. And then I started learning it. So I basically did more like self-learning kind of stuff, right? So I started on my own. I started watching tutorials. I took some courses also, which are on YouTube and Udemy and stuff. So from there, I started to know the basics of engine, then the programming language and stuff. And when I started doing this, it felt right. Yes, this is something which is making me feel. Uh, I'm though I am frustrated sometimes while coding when things get stuck, but still, it's always there is always this. Happiness when the game actually works. So it creates a sense of happiness, and I didn't get such happiness in other development side, like web development and the stuff that was uh, this was something which was more interesting to me, and this was something which I would I can do, without getting to scratch my head. So that's why I chose this.
Right. So one more question.
Worked on and why? I guess memorable would be the first game that I made. Though it is not public, I only play it myself. But it was just a simple shooter game, right?
Hmm.
I actually learned every concept on my own from YouTube and gaming articles, and I actually implemented those stuff uh, like it very much because it was something that I did, uh, in the beginning of my learning, and that helped me a lot to grow as a as a developer, I would say. So that game doesn't have a name actually. It's just my first project. That is the most memorable game for me.
So we have one last comment
Yeah.
from person like, I guess this is about what in India there are many games being developed around the historical segment of India. So what is your take on that? Like,
Okay, we have got to connect games with education. People need to learn this. God of War, Kichega, Adventure of Ram. Okay. We got to connect games with education, as in I'm hoping that he's asking
me about the
like
history, like connecting games with
acha.
history.
Okay, okay. So like the story that is being told in the game makes you understand the concepts of past, like that.
Right, right. So,
So first of all, yeah,
yeah.
God of War is one of the best games that I have played. And if we are able, like in India, I guess there are few games that has been developed. I guess very popular in recent time was a Razi game. The name of
Hmm.
the game was Razi. So it was the theme was ancient, but I don't know about the story actually, that what is the story based on. But yes, if you want to create something game which are based on the history and stuff, uh, to get the first of all we need to uh, the storytelling and stuff can be done through a game. It can be very interesting, obviously, like people are more hooked towards a game. It's more like a movie only, right? Whenever we are playing a game and we are seeing the
Hmm.
cinematics, it's just that it's a movie in which you can actually uh, you know involved. You can actually do stuff in that. So obviously if we have something related to education, right? Let's say if we have something based on the history of India, people will actually obviously know more about, but that can also be achieved through those animation stuff and right, because uh, game is something which is more for the entertainment kind of purpose, right? And if you are getting education, then that's a very good thing if you are getting to educate and stuff,
Hmm.
right? And uh, we if I'm just talking about God of War is excellent game. And if we are able to produce such quality of game in India, then obviously everyone will be educated in coming generation, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How to stay up to date with latest trends and technologies in the gaming industry. So I would say we can follow you can follow these I would say LinkedIn would be the uh, good way to keep up to date with the technologies and trends.
Hmm.
People are actually posting a lot, those, like if you are involved in that community, those pages and people, those who are actually actively doing development and stuff, so they will be posting about these, about any new uh, tools that has been launched, any new technique that has been launched. So they will be posting that on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a very active community, I would say, for keeping up to date. Apart from that, we have these, internet, like in which there are a lot of information is there, right? So you if you just search that how to learn this, how to learn that, what is the better way to learn this, what is the better way to learn that, so you will find a lot of stuff there also, right? So
Right.
just subscribing to the Unity official blogs, or you can just go to the Unity website. You can actually just go randomly on Reddit, Quora, and uh, like these kind of public platforms on which people are you know posting about this stuff. So yeah, I guess these are some ways you can actually be up to date with the technology.
Right. So we have one more question. Yeah.
Why is it hard to create games like Red Dead Redemption 2 in which the NPC interaction are so real, like they are real people? Actually, this is not hard, but I would say it is more the concern of the skill that there are the skill that people have in India. I would say that it is, you know, not that we cannot compare that with the those people, those who are actually creating it, right? In India, just recently we have been updated with this gaming side, right? Like in past 3 4 years, people have actually came to know about, okay, we also have an engine, we have this thing, we have that thing. Those people are much more aware than us, and they have been working on this from past so many years. If you can see that, like in the games that were released in 2004 2005 are much more advanced than the games that have been produced in India, because in 2005 2004 we were not even that much connected to internet, like in small
Right.
tier 2 tier 3 cities they were, but they were so I would say there is this gap, right? But I'm sure that in coming, upcoming years, we will be able to achieve uh, this good game wala tag, because people are more aware now. People are actually now seriously learning this. People are now actually, getting into this gaming wala side. Earlier, people were not used to consider it as a career, but now they are. So
Right.
till now, I guess just from the perspective of India, because there were not much opportunities, there were not much awareness. That's why people were not upskilling themselves, or maybe not getting into this. But now, as we have seen, people are more interested in this field. And even I have seen that now some universities also offering courses in animations,
Mhm.
design, development stuff. So yeah, in upcoming years, I would you can see a good AAA game. And recently, there's some startup in Mumbai who has started working on a AAA game, which is like the first AAA game that is being developed in India. So yeah, I
Right.
guess this will happen.
Yeah, we have one more question about you.
What are some biggest challenges that you face as a game developer? As a game developer, no, just as a developer, you can say yes. Challenges are same as a developer only. Like uh, as a game developer, you are uh, more like a full stack game developer. Okay, you will be working on everything. If And that is a good thing actually. You will be working on front end as in like the designing of that, the
Hmm.
screens and stuff, which is very interesting. Design. You are getting some environment, and you are designing the environment. As a developer, you can also do that. Uh, that is interesting. Uh, Challenges as a developer you face are same as you face in any other field. So it's not like you are in getting some other challenge here. Just the difference here is that you will be learning a lot of things, right? And I guess the efforts that are made in creating a game is more than creating a website, or because you need to be concerned about a lot of things, even animations, even uh, uh, optimization, and different stuff. So challenges will come, and with each challenge, obviously, you will be learning a bit more about that thing that you have faced challenge for, right? And it will only make you a good developer. As
Hmm.
such a game developer, uh, the major challenge is putting your hand into different things. There are a lot of things that you need to cover. So this will take some time in order to get a grip of what we are doing. That is only the challenge. But as you keep getting progress with your learning, and you just keep developing projects, you just start creating projects, things will just keep getting easier. And then different set of challenges will come. Then you need to learn more of the tools and more of the other packages that Unity keep releasing and other developers keep releasing, which are just there to make your work easier. But the challenges are pretty much same as in any other development field.
Right. So we have one last question. Yeah.
So if someone is interested in making a career in game development, I would simply suggest that you know if you are really interested and you want to make a career in game development, obviously the first thing that you want to do is uh, like make sure that you are familiar with a programming language, right?
Mhm.
It can be C sharp, C++, which are very popular in gamings. Uh, those. And then for engine, you can choose engine. So if you choose Unity, you can go with C sharp, Unreal, C++. Start with this stack, and then if you want, you can also be a self learner, right? There are hundreds of videos available on YouTube. There are hundreds of articles available. And Unity itself has its own learn.unity.com, in which they'll be posting tutorials and stuff. in which you can start to know how how to create a game and stuff. So uh, just make yourself familiar with a programming language, and then start polishing your skills. The concept of OOP, so it's very important. You should be familiar with OOP just to make your code structured well. Then you can go with further data structures and stuff. Those are the additional you know like additional perk, I would say, in which you can know how to optimize the game here, because optimization is very important. So data structures is a plus. Then the gaming engine. Gaming engine is a huge thing, right? You cannot learn that gaming engine one go. You just keep exploring it and you keep understanding, "Okay, what does this do, what does this do." Unity has its official documentation in which each and everything is explained. You can just simply go there. You can go to YouTube. You can hundreds of ways you can just explore yourself and start learning, and you can just start developing a game.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to the end of the session. It was really
Okay.
nice hearing you out, and we got to learn some cool things. I'll request on the behalf of the audience, then once we can organize a workshop with you so that we can actually develop a game on our own and learn something practically.
Yeah, yeah,
We can
sure, sure.
plan that out
So
if you are. Yeah.
we can actually just like today I just showed you a glimpse of
Hmm.
how things looks in the back end, right? How things are actually how the player is running, jumping. So
Right.
just a glimpse, but it is much more interesting to actually write that code to make the player jump. And then if you when you actually play the game and it is actually working like you have designed it, it's a very feeling of accomplishment, I would say. So
Right.
we can definitely organize such a workshop in which I can just guide you people that how to get started with Indian,
Hmm.
how to set up, how to make a very small game, and how to make it for Android and iOS and stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can plan that one soon, and I guess audience will love that session as well. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for letting in us on your knowledge, and we hope we can organize that workshop really soon. As for the audience, I'm really glad that you guys joined and kept the session lively with your comments. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. We'll see you again next week with some another session, hopefully with the workshop with Sir. And just subscribe to the channel. Just stay tuned and keep learning with Cypher Schools. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.